Hi, welcome to the Bad Hand Show. How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here today. I had gotten sick. This is my setup. I'm not sure how it's running. I can't find my thing to put my ring light on. My mic is like right here, so hopefully it's picking up pretty well. I got my music playing just for disclaimer or whatever. This is my own music that I create. It's from my own radio station, the Boom Boom Radio Show. So that's what's playing in the background, and yeah, let's just get this started. So I'm so excited. We got quite a bit of things we've been working on since, like I said, I got kind of like I had an allergic reaction to something. I'm not sure, it was either resin or some teeth whitening strip things, and so that had taken me some days. I'm not quite fully like clear of the breakout, but it's getting where my eye was really swollen. It looked like I had been boxing and everything. So we are glad to be doing this. Glad nothing stopped us from doing it, and so we're just going to talk about all the things that we have done since 2024 has started. I mean, like we started 2024 not sure exactly what we were going to do. Like, our goals and dreams have always been wanting to have our own business. We've always been into fashion. We've always been wanting to have our own brand. I don't know, I explained from 2004, I came out with a brand, a logo I had, and it was about being a go-getter, and from that point to this point, I'm still always thinking about my own brand, logo, things to do. That has something to do with that. So in 2024, it started. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do or how we wanted to do it. So I was going to, when you're just trying to figure out what direction is best, I was looking at the trends, using stencils and putting it on shirts or putting it on whatever. So I had bought a couple of stencils, and I started off with that, but then I used one of the stencils as a hand stencil, which is my logo, and put some hands together and made it the logo for my brand. And I love it. I made decals for it. I printed some stuff on t-shirts for it. I mean, like I said, so I was just slowly building up the brand within myself, I think is where it started. And then so I just was constantly getting things that I knew I would need, whether I was just stenciling or just really building a brand. And so I got this cutting machine. I always had this little Cricut one that I'm still learning how to use. I'm not quite sure how to use it But getting the bigger one this year made me understand a lot better how to cut and different ways to cut things. And so I'm so happy to have that. And then, of course, a printer. You always need a printer, whatever business you're doing. So, and then I found a deal on that to where you don't have to necessarily go out and buy ink yourself. It's an HP. They'll send it to you once they realize your levels are going low. I mean, printing costs. It doesn't matter if you just buy a printer and buy ink, or you do it this way or any other way, whether you do it online and they send it to you. Printing costs, and it's just about you finding what works best for you is what I'm learning. Like, I do have a printer, but I just felt like at the point I was at when I first started, this would be the best way to go after trying to use my own printer in various situations that just wasn't feasible. So this one works. It helps do whatever I need to do, and anything else, if you weigh the cost with whatever you're doing, that's all I know about business. and that's where we are at with it. We're learning how to build this brand. So, and then now I'm into doing fonts, because I realized every time I went to go, like, if I went to this cutting studio, and I'm using a different font all the time, and not saying that the font that I start off with is not in everything, it's just not me really paying attention to that, or setting it on that. So I feel like the only way in myself for me to stay consistent with it, and I should have printed out something, because I'm not really educated on doing the screen sharing and all this stuff at the moment. So, but if you watch my YouTube video, you'll see that I have made a video on different fonts I'm making. So I'm at a challenge where I'm doing 10 fonts. I think I'm at 6. And then you wrap your head around it. No pun intended. So it's, words kind of like wrap around things. But and then you go from there and figure out what you want to do with it, and like I was mentioning in the animated video I made, that it's being a very creative person can be a blessing and a curse, in a sense, if you don't get a hold of what you're doing, right? I mean, because like when we were younger, we just followed all the trends. Because we are still trying to figure out what we want to do. Like if you go to take a course or go to school, and then midway you feel like that's not what you want to do, that's just what it is. And if you either eventually have to grow out of that and really settle with something or settle down to something, or you just keep doing that, and then you get to a certain point in your life and realize, like, I really haven't accomplished anything. So, and I think that's just where it is. So I feel like with the fonts, create them because I want to create them and use them, and I'm really working on building a brand that includes a lot of stuff, but that's not an overnight thing. It's a process. So you start where you can with what your pocketbook allows you to at the moment. So I did invest in some t-shirts, but it's not something you can, unless you just really churning out sales or starting. You have to just constantly be working at it and know how to advertise. And these are things you also have to learn. And it's not because you're a beginner, because it's people who've been doing it a long time and who have the money and everything and to spend in advertising, as they will tell you. And it's not just always that easy. It's not so cut and dry. You can't really buy advertising space where eyeballs are. You can buy a space on the billboard, but sometimes eyeballs are not up looking at the billboard, if it makes sense, So it's just about learning, like they say, learning what your audience is looking for, And some people are more gifted in others in getting that, and some aren't. And it weighs pros and cons to everything on how some people can do things. And we all look at other people and be like, I wish I could do it that easy. And then they could be looking at you the same way. So it's just all about figuring out what works for you and sticking with that, and not trying to change to be like somebody else is what I've learned. Continue to keep learning over time. But back to the fonts. So that's my goal for whether I'm selling fonts that I create on my website, because everything is just a process, and everything is not going to be made for everybody, and it's not going to fit everybody. It's going to fit a certain type of person, and that's just how you have to look at these things. But so whether I'm selling things that I cut with my vinyl cutter in a font that I created, and just selling a vinyl cutout a heat transfer cutout that someone can buy and put on their shirt themselves, that's one option. Whether I'm selling just fonts that I created on my website, that's another option. Just because, it's my advice, you cannot, if your goal is to have your dream fashion line, clothing line, whatever, and just because you cannot do that all at one time, you can create all the parts that make up these things, which was a good analysis that someone did. I seen on YouTube that sometimes you might not be able to, like if you like to draw certain things, and I'm not going to say word from word to how he said it, but you don't have all the things you need to be able to make that a full-fledged business where people understand it, because it's not something everybody would want to buy or look at or put in their house as a picture frame or something, or it might be abstract and it might take them a while to understand it. You could figure out what part of it that you can market the best. and build around that. And that's just how I was looking at it anyway. I mean, like myself personally, first you do beat yourself up because you feel like you can't. It's a saturated world. It's not just like a saturated market. It's a saturated world, and everyone brings something to it. And sometimes you find people who are bringing something that it's been around forever, but it's just not something people have spent time trying to really hone in on or create. And because sometimes we do follow what other people are doing, and or it's just not something we have fully developed in our own minds on how to get it out there, especially when you will look at people and they tell you all the different ways. You have to really kind of get to people's minds, so to speak, when you're trying to advertise or something, and how words and contrast and these things all play a part in grabbing the attention of someone. Like you might, like myself, I'm good at explaining to people what I want. Like if I go to AI or if I'm just talking and you're listening to me and I'm just telling you something, I thought I'm good at doing that. But just me having the time to sit down and do it on my own, which no one should have to do anything on their own. And that's the whole point. So then we'll talk about AI, because AI is a big thing and everybody has an opinion about it. It's there. It has been created for people to use. With everything that you can use, you can also misuse, right? Like if you season something, and you can freely season anything, but you can also misuse seasoning something to where it gives you like problems or allergic reaction or whatever it is. So you can also misuse it. And I think I don't use it a ton of times. I've just started doing it, unless I'm just doing the blog post and I'll just say, give me a starting point, and then I'll just go do some research on finding all the rest of the points I want to add to it. But I've just gotten into, since I started my brand, not since I started my brand, but here since I moved here, I really just started doing asking AI to give me some kind of visual that I can look at and really think about something versus just me in my own thoughts thinking about it. So that's what I've been doing. Especially when it comes to my brand, I'll let my logo be the image, because for some reason, everything I do, people see themselves in it somehow, or they feel like I was just sitting around looking at them, or AI is just sitting around looking at them, and they want to create them again and again and again. And they feel like I have no say-so in this, and it's not anything I'm doing or saying, it's just the way they look or something, I don't know. But I always use whatever I'm doing as a image, a reference, because that's the only way, in my opinion, in AI's eyes, you're going to get pretty much what you're asking for if you give it something to reference. It's just the same thing. Like, I ask it to give me a reference that I can look at, and it'll ask me to give it a reference that it can look at. Okay, so it's a partnership. I feel like AI is that you kind of draw from each other. It's not. It looks at itself, I would gather, like you look at yourself. I don't know it all. I don't know how to do it all. A computer. So most of the stuff I look at it is points. It's a point system. So the finger points. So sometimes they all have like 10 fingers or something. Like we all have 10. Like 10 fingers on one hand or something. So that's what my take on AI is. Like when it comes to book writing, I don't know, that's a deeper thing. I think it also should take you time to even write a book with AI, just because it can churn out pages for you fast. Not necessarily mean is how you should use it. I'm not here to judge anybody, but that's my take on the AI and how I use it. And just like if you see the animation video, I wanted to, because I'm doing the 10 fonts and I want to have some type of visual to write out. So like I said, I dabbled off into journaling. Like I guess I've been journaling all my life, but it's just random writing. It's to me what journaling is. But like I said, there's so many variations of journaling, okay, when you really get into it, and when you're looking at it as other people's creative outlet, and you can market it and sell it depending on what kind of journal it is. and then it becomes a whole nother world of things. So at the moment while I'm doing these fonts, journaling, but I'm using the fonts I created to journal. So I know I had a dream, and it was about some kind of mechanical thing. I don't know. So I went to AI and asked it before I wrote out some of my fonts on this paper or whatever. Asked it to create a giant robot, female robot. And that's pretty much, and I said I wanted it pinkish gray or something. And then, it'll ask you some other questions like what kind of setting you want. Do you want it to look human or not human? And I'm always on the fence of it looking too human. And then I'm like, but it depended on what I'm going for. If I want it to look too cartoonish. Like my logo things when I ask it to help me create like a model for my logo, so it just kind of breaks up it being too masculine or too feminine. I'll ask it to do something like that, and those are where you see I come up with the faces of, but I used my logo as a reference picture, and you can kind of tell it because the way that my logo is designed, you got one leaning, and so it always is leaning, and something is always, it's just the reference pictures, and however it comes up with the face is the whole, and, but anyway, so that's what I did. But I did that because I wanted to do a poster when I finished the 10 fonts and kind of write out something, out of this world type of stuff that, I often do. And so you can see the different fonts in a different way. So, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do that. I know I'm gonna have to lighten the background some, but that's where I'm going with that. So, but then also I've always been wanting to try to figure out how to animate stuff. And every once in a while I will try to draw something, but I keep going like I don't know how to animate it to make it, and I don't have the patience or the mindset to kind of I've tried to do the where you keep drawing it and making it walk and all that, and so just like with singing, I was like, I just need something that will sing for me, and so that's how I create. Now I was creating music on BandLab and sometimes on GarageBand just on my own before I found a platform that would create a singer for you. And so I think had been doing that 3 or 4 years already. So I had already had a list of songs that I just haven't really gone back to try to put it into the, I use Udio. I haven't gone back to try to put it in Udio to see what else I think I did 1 or 2, but I was just starting to use Udio, so I didn't understand how you could do that. And there's still so much I can do with Udio as far as cutting up things and making this one voice the voice of I use a lot. But it is all an art form, and it's all the way you talk and it's a description. If you know how to do descriptions good, I guess you would call them description characters or whatever. If you know how to do that good, you can sometimes get pretty much what you want when it comes to AI, I think, or something like that. And then you just keep tinkering with it until you feel like your ears hear something that you feel like whoever your audience is wouldn't mind listening to. It might not something like my radio station might not be something people want to listen to every day, because it is a world of musicians, because AI is not taking their place, because it is still stuff you want to hear, people you heard, and that still goes on. But every once in a while you might want to tune into some or get inspiration from somebody else who's doing something a different way, and then you just leave that's AI. I know that question comes up a lot about people always feeling like AI comes into the picture and takes place, but that's with any partnership, right? That's for with anything. Like if you and your guy or girl just been there doing your thing all along, and then you got somebody else that come in, like say if somebody were in a group, right? They was in a group and everybody just sang, they got along, they sang, they danced and whatnot, and then all of a sudden one of your guys then got interested in a girl, and then he ain't available no more. Then they felt like it. Hey, I was here first. That's AI. Okay, so that's just my take on that. But that is life, and sometimes it just happens, and it's nothing against anybody, but sometimes people change the way they do things. And and if people have like been always arguing about things anyway, it's just like, hey, you have to find a medium to where if this ain't gonna work out, then I can still go on and be who I am. I don't have to feel so drugged out and down about not being able to continue to be myself because I was in something with somebody else and they just took the whole life out of me. I feel like that's the medium. So, and it's not for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody. Everybody don't have the know-how to explain what they want. Not even in, I see that every day. They can sit there and try to go talk to somebody who ain't got nothing to do with what they doing, but they won't go talk to the person they sleeping with about their feelings. Like, so they off topic. But so that's just, it's not for everybody, and everybody don't know how to use it, and everybody won't know how to use it, and it's not, but it's something we all knew it was coming. Once the internet got into the possibilities was just going to be endless, and then you either don't have to get in or you're going to have to fall back, one of the two. So that is my take on that. So I really want to, something else I want to be so good at, not so good to where I'm just better than anybody else, but get good at doing this. Get good at not really thinking about that I'm doing it, just doing it, being myself, and just being able to talk about the things that I do and how I do it, my thoughts on things that people, because this probably is the best place for people to ask me questions, because I'm not really focused on the internet a lot as far as just sitting around watching people. So this will be the place where if you had any questions for me about how I do anything, or if you want to know my answer, a comment, or concerns, or whatever, then this will be the place that you would ask me, or send an email or text or something. But I do want to get so much better at doing this, so much better at learning how to do email marketing, making email campaigns, and really, I've always, from this point, from before that, I always been like shy to ask people for their personal information. So, because it's something you kind of cringe at first when people ask you for these things. Like, why would you want my personal information? So it's just like, I understand it. So, but yeah, I want to get so much better at that. And like I said, 2024 has come to a close. And I don't really want to think about how, like, trying to think I'm like so behind on everything that I'm trying to catch up with anything, because I don't feel like I'm trying to catch up on anything. I feel like I got what I need on my website from where I'm starting. I got things to continue to put on there, whether it be t-shirts or backpacks or hats, which I do want to get more into hats in 20, but I wanted to really get the font that really speaks to me, and that's it, something that really is eye-catching. So that's what I'm creating. So that's another reason why I'm gonna put the Tina and see which, now I've always been funny about naming things. So but anyway, so I'm going for the one that I named No Sloppy Seconds, which it's a funny font to me, because the words don't look good in all capital letters, right? But they do look good together as one capital and the rest is lowercase. So it's a funny font to me. And I think I was just putting all my letters on my logo in capital letters, I think. So just trying to create that font, and then just be able to, like later today, I'm going to cut some stuff out in the fonts that I already made. This is something else I know I'm going to add into part of my thing, is don't knock my hustle. Later today when I cut it, I'm going to cut it in a couple of all the fonts that I made. So I'm just going to cut this out in all the different fonts and see how it cuts. So, but yeah, I came up with that. I was feeling sick. I was starting to get a little better, and I had just got my Cricut machine, my little one, where I was at. So I just had brought it to where I was at, so I cut that, and that's in permanent vinyl. So I think that's what I'll just cut them all in permanent vinyl, just to see, that way I'm not wasting it, because I do have a lot of heat transfer vinyl that, once I see how it cuts, fonts cut, then I would go into where will make up sayings and just cut them out and put those for sale, just as things people can iron on shirts or bags or whatever they themselves. So that's my thought for 2025 as well. Just getting that. I am working on some notepads. I'm still trying to understand the journaling things. It takes a little more processing, so I don't want to jump off into that as already knowing what I'm doing. And of course stickers and always decals, and like I said, I got tons of backpacks and hats at the moment, and some mugs that I can put some of this stuff on. So yeah, that is so I said that to say I'm not trying to do this as in right now. I'm so trying to get caught up and I feel like at the moment I'm like in a good headspace with it, to where it's putting it all together in a row, to where it's not anymore me thinking what I got to do. It's just me knowing when I need to do it. Like go into that point where when you feel like, most of the times you feel like you should be advertising after you've made a consistent amount of stuff that'll keep people's eyes. And then you should make that rule of, well, I think I'm at this point where right now it's time for people to see something new on the website or something like that. I feel I'm still not understanding how much, like, because I don't really watch people, know how much time they spend on their website versus how much time they spend creating. So I don't know how that is. I mean, especially in beginning stages, most people who like probably been at it a while, got consistent sales, they probably spend more time on their website than they do creating. So, but I think when you first start, you spend more time creating than you do on your website. So it's just, in these beginning stages, you want to realize how much time, because isn't that Google or whoever will realize that you're like, this seems like an abandonment or something because you haven't been on there in like a while. So I don't know. Just trying to understand that part. I try to go over there. You stay on it. I'll consistently trying to update things or just add some kind of calendar to keep myself and people aware of what I'm, and just trying to stay. That's my main goal, is trying to stay consistent on being consistent. If it makes sense. So yeah, and I think I have done so much, and then like focusing on just having something fresh to always put on there, or just a different way I look at things. But I think the main point is doing the email marketing, learning how to do that, learning how to get emails and things like that, and constantly being in contact with your, not constant, because I know it becomes spam for a moment. But like when you start something else, or because all this still is a learning thing. You have to learn how to, like I have to learn how to sell my fonts, right? I know you can go to all these different places and add them or ask them to sell them for you and all these things as well. But you still need to learn how to sell them yourself at first. So I don't know, just, you watch YouTube videos and all these things you have to kind of like educate yourself on. And then just really, the advertising for me, I feel like comes easy with that, because I'll just write what I'm doing on any of these things and just post it. So I like that. It's simple. It's not. So I'm excited about that. So 2025, that's just something else I'm in, knowing that I don't have to think about really having like a lot of clothes to sell or anything. Because most of those things come up, you find manufacturers for those, or you go to some outlet, or do you find a wholesale person that might have something that catches your eye, whether it be like some, dresses or something you can do all over prints on, and you start off with 10, 20 of those. So a lot of those things you could just, I think that's just how I feel like I can easily start those things, and it doesn't have to be such a stressing yourself out about it. So anyway, But yeah, I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm glad, like I said, I started off. Yeah, I was just making sure I still got. I started off with doing this on Anchor, and I just was like, I liked it, but again, I didn't have really anything I was talking about that was really something, like, other than me. I just was glad to have an outlet, and I didn't quite understand how to use YouTube at that point to, because so I was just like, I was glad that I could do that, and then so I like the setup of it now. I think it's easy. I don't know. I was using StreamYard. I like that too, but it was something different about it, but that you have to kind of understand. But yeah, hopefully my sound and my setup at the moment is just it's good. I can maneuver through it. You can hear me, you can see me, and I'm excited about that as well. And that's all I know. And just taking one day at a time with it. Health is important, so you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're taking that time to focus and relax and really understand what it is that you want, not only out of your business, out of your life, and I think this current situation I'm in it's about me learning how to accept what I'm going to accept and then not accept what I'm not, because once you start really doing these things, I think, and really will get good at whatever you're doing as far as your business, it comes with other people too that want to work with you or make deals with you or want you to do this or ask you if you can do this. And you need to know how to talk, okay? You need to come out of your shell and do it, right? You need to learn how to explain yourself. You need to know how to say, I don't agree with that. You need to know how to say no. It sounds good, but I know my mindset is not going to let me stay focused on that long. So, if there's an easier way about doing something, okay. But long to just focus on one thing for one long time as far as like business that they ain't got really much to do with me a lot might not be a great thing. But if it's got lots to do with me, it probably would be easy for me to focus on because it's all I do. But anyway, so yeah, did I cover everything? And we did AI. I mean, AI is just an engine, and it'll keep churning. So and and then I understand all the things you have to do. Just at the moment, I don't have a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I need to give credit to, right? Like if I upload a song I made from Udio, I just started doing, because I don't do hashtags. I haven't. I mean, I know I should. I did some today because the Vidu, I think it's Vidu, is what the software I use to bring my poster look to life. So I use that, a hashtag for that on YouTube. But when I created a song with Udio, I just started making a video from Udio, and then when I put it on my personal thing, TikTok thing, it has Udio on there itself, so people already know it's on there, and it's not something I have to just like write everything down. So, but I was just looking at the YouTube video today about people, how serious that stuff is about giving credit to something. I guess especially when it's like if someone's sponsoring you and you're doing a YouTube video and you're using some products and you want the entities that want you to make sure you let the people know that it's sponsored, you're making money from it, and these things. I understand that. And so at the moment, I'm not doing a lot of stuff that I need to give credit to as far as sponsorships or people having to give credit to me, basically. Okay, that's my thoughts process on these things. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Minding my own business, but with anything and with everything, people can like what you're doing, and then sometimes business ain't good business. We learn that all money ain't good money. I figure they mean that to say that. Yeah, it sounds good a lot of times, but the stress it might put on you later, just trying to get that, it might be not the greatest thing, okay? So I understand that, and people will come, you have, I don't know, just being younger before and just seeing things the way I've seen them. And I know it's no different with anyone else. Like if you like was the popular person on the block, everybody wanted to come to your house, right? And then, and sometimes that's all fun and dandy, right? Fine, it's cool, hang out. But then at some point you get tired. You especially get tired of the freeloaders, right? You get tired of the ones who just want to come hang out because they know you're going to have something going on. They know somebody going to donate something to you. They know you're going to have some extra and you might want to just give it to the people. Oh man, it made this so and then you kind of grow out of that quick. So and then when people, like, you've already grown, so that ain't a thing anymore, so if you still get grown people that done like wasted their life away claiming they talented, but you can't find nothing they ever did that showcased that they got talent, and then they come around you trying to get everybody else to believe they something they not, and then they be looking all confused why people's like, we've been seeing you forever and ain't seen not one thing you know how to do. Okay, so you can stop trying to vicariously live through that dream that expired a long time ago, like stale milk. So yeah, that was my take on that, because I do get that a lot. People just want to come hang out or something, or think you're desperate for a friend, or you're desperate for this or that, or that. Like, there's people in the world that have been raised only children or something. It's not like when you see it, it's might be far and few between, but it's not like it ain't something you ever heard about, or be the only child left at home or something after all the other ones done grown up and went and got married, had kids of their own. That's not unheard of, to be an only something. So, but I get these people who will come and act like that's something they never heard about, or anytime I hear someone claiming they got one too, but they don't know how to use it, then it's you need to go take a course or class to learn how to use what you got, okay? Stop thinking somebody else is going to want to give you what they got so you can try to look better in it or something, if that makes sense. So these are all things I don't deal with them, but I make sure they know you can miss me with all the drama. I don't entertain it. I don't care to entertain it, but I will direct you to someone who will tell you to go sit down or something. I don't know. Go find somebody else to talk to it on it. I talk to AI a lot. I was talk to it like we've been friends forever. Like, did you remember? That is it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Like I said, I wanted to continue to do this on Sundays around 3:30. It seems like it's a good time for me. All week I've done what I needed to do. Relaxed, kind of cleaned up. It's my, airing out, cleaning up things, so it all just ties into with a clean slate, clean mind. So, but until next week, we shall talk again. Peace. If I can stop. Did it stop already? Okay, so I remember last time. Oh, I know it stopped. Excuse me, I'm still trying to